Hello, good morning. So today I am going to speak about environmental scanning. Okay, so what is environmental scanning? Environmental scanning is a method for identifying, collecting, and translating information about the internal and external influences into useful plans and decisions of the company. Okay? All right. So, what are the reasons or why do we need to scan the environment before going into or venturing into a business, or even if you already have an existing company, you really need to scan the environment continuously. Okay, so why do we need to scan? Because we are going we have a need to know what is the appropriate plan to start at the place, and also what is the best or to develop the best strategy that you will do to get ahead of your competitors. All right, so when we talk about environmental scanning, we have the three environment to consider. All right, so we have the external environment. Okay, it consists of macroeconomic environment, we have the industry environment, and we have the internal environment. All right, so, when we talk about environment, we have the corresponding analysis framework to use. Okay, so as shown on my screen, all right, so the type of environment we have here, the macro economic environment, that is a part of external environment. So when we talk about macroeconomic environment, so we use the pest analysis or the pastel analysis. We will be discussing that later on. Okay, so another um, external environment, is the industry environment. It consists of our competitors, our suppliers, and our customers. And for that, we have to use Porter's five forces as our analysis framework. And for our internal environment, we use analysts use SWOT analysis to determine the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the company, and also with the external environment. Okay, so we will talk about the PESTEL environment. So PESTEL stands for political, economic, social, legal, environmental, and technological. Okay, so that is pastel environment. We use that when we scan our macroeconomic environment. That is an external environment that is usually beyond the control of the company. Okay, now we talk about political. All right, so political, you have to consider the regulating competition, the taxation, the corruption, and with the business. Okay? All right, so you have to consider that before you venture into a business, or even if you have an existing environment. Is the politics friendly with with your business tactics or whatever? So that is very important. Okay, now, let's go to the economic environment. You have to consider the interest rates, The unemployment, the inflation, and the recession, especially today that we are in the midst of crisis of this pandemic, this COVID-19 crisis, we are now in recession. Okay, we suffer so much. Our economy suffers so much. So you have to consider that. Okay, so is it still the best strategy to open in this place wherein most of the places uh, have a cases of coronavirus? Okay, you have to consider that the inflation, also the rising of prices of goods. Okay, now let's go to the social. You have to scan, you have to examine your environment, its demographics, its pressure groups, consumer trends, and health. So we are going to focus more on the demographics. You have to know the population, the age, okay, the age, the sex, and the preference of your market. Okay, say for example, in this place, there are there are lots of millennials according to your survey. You have to put that into research. Okay, so for example, we have a very high number of millennials. So now, given that data, you are going to strategize what is the best product to produce for this kind of market. Okay, so if, say for example, nowadays, people are very much worried about their health. So vitamins or vitamin C and all the food supplements that boosts their immune system is very sellable nowadays. So you also have to consider that. Okay, now I have here an example of how Amazon strategize, or how Amazon scanned their environment. Okay, so remember, when you scan your environment, it has to be based on facts, it has to be based on data, and it has to be from a reliable source. Okay, say for example, here in the Amazon, they have their social trends as their macroeconomic environment factor. So, an example here says online consumer spending continues to grow as e commerce sales 15.5% through the first 3 quarters of 2018. That is according to the US Commerce Department. Okay. So as you can see on the example, we have here the 15.5%. So this is based on survey. This is based on research. Okay? And this is according to the US Commerce Department. So this is from a reliable source. Okay? That is very important. Now let's go to the technological. Okay, so we have here the cybercrime. Okay, so as nowadays technology booms so much. All right, so we have here the robotics. So we can hear that some countries are using robots as their pickers in their warehouse. Okay, so like for example, in these days, most students or most schools are implementing uh, online system of education. Okay, so you have to think of that. So what is the best product, or if not product, what is the best services to suit this kind of change, this kind of status of technologically? Okay, so that is very important. All right, now we have here the legal. Okay, so legal and political are closely related, right? But it has to be separated because not all factors, or not all political factors, are put into law. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Okay, so we have here the employment law, employment law and the minimum wage law. So even if you're still starting up a business, you have to follow the minimum wage law. So you have to pay your employees exactly what is stated in the law. Okay? Now we have here the environmental, so it is very important. So the sustainability, the supply chain, and the pollution, if it affects, okay, if it affects your business. Okay, say for example, a certain place is implementing new using of plastic bags. Okay, so that is now an ordinance of many cities in the Philippines. All right, so you have to also to consider if you are running a cellophane or a plastic bags business, you also have to consider to examine which of these places you are going to deliver your services or you're going to deliver your products, okay? And also with the pollution, okay? That is very important. All right, so now in the micro environment or for our rivalry, for our customers, and for our suppliers, we are going to use the Porter's five forces. So we have here the rivalry, the threat of new entrants. Okay, we have the bargaining power of suppliers, we have the threat of substitute, and we have also the bargaining power of buyers. So when we say rivals, okay, business rivals or competitors, so we have here the threat of new entrants. So when we say threat of new entrants, they are offering the product very the same as you offer to your market. Okay, say for example, you are offering your business is on burger, okay, and there comes a new entrance who is selling burger too, same features with your business. So what are you going to do having that data? All right, so you are now going to strategize. Okay, so you are going to add some features that will give you an edge, okay, over the other, over the new entrance. So that is very important that you are going to scan your environment. Okay, so when we talk about threat of substitute, what products or what services can or may substitute the product you are offering into your market? Okay, all right, so now let's go to the SWOT analysis. So we are going to consider the weaknesses of our company, internal. We are going to consider the opportunity outside, okay? And we are going to also consider the threat and the weaknesses. Say, for example, your business has an extra capital. What's that? Okay, so that is an internal strength, right? So, given that you have an extra capital and then you scan the environment and then there comes a business closing, okay? So, that can be your opportunity to buy out. Okay, so you are going to match your strength versus the weakness or the threats outside. Okay, so say for example, all right, so that's all. So we have to match. Okay, now, how are you going to do the environmental scanning? Okay, so I have here the eight processes. So this could vary according to the business you are in. Okay, so or according to how you do your environmental scanning. Okay, so first you gather a team. Okay, that would focus on environmental scanning. Okay, and then identify critical trends and then talk to your members, then you roam around. Okay, you roam around, you read news, okay, you watch TV and all, what is going on outside, what is going on with our political, what is going on with our economy, what is going on with everything technologically, and all those factors that are beyond your control. You have to monitor that. Okay, so You have to share the process and then target the right sources. So, as I am talking a while ago, that right sources is very important. Okay, you just can't believe on what is written or what is stated or what is trending. Okay, you have to to know if the source of that news or the source of that information is legit enough. Okay, and then encourage a culture of foresight. You're going to look being futuristic, okay, and evaluate the information. Okay, you have to know if such information can affect you or cannot affect you rather instead. Okay, and then incorporate information should be written. Okay. All right, so that would be all about the environmental scanning. All right, this has been Teacher G, and thank you very much for watching. And I really hope that you learned something from this presentation. Okay, God bless us all and keep safe.